Aiming is one of the most important parts of CS and is often a major reason people hit a wall and can't progress past their natural skill ceiling. And while it is true that you won't ever have the skill of Donk or Neeko, there's still quite a few tricks you can use to win more gunfights and climb the ranks. Hi, I'm Dirt Slurpee, a face at level 10 who spent thousands of hours slowly getting better at Counter-Strike, and I'm here to help you improve at the most frustrating game ever created. Crosshair placement is our first topic, and before you click off the video, no, I'm not just going to tell you to place your crosshair where you think an enemy is before peeking angle. There's actually a little bit of more science to where you want to place your crosshair, and a lot of creators will not talk about it. It's all about knowing how the enemy is going to be playing a spot or peeking an angle. So when people tell you, hey, just put your crosshair where you think an enemy is at head height, they're not wrong, they're just not entirely correct. What you should be thinking about is what type of angle you're holding and how the enemy is going to peek it. People typically pre-aim common spots, or what we'll call on angles. When they peek these, they typically stop early and try to show as little of their body as possible so they can be both fast and safe. So, if you find yourself holding in a common spot, like for example Connector on Mirage, you want to do two things. 1. Hold your crosshair close to the corner. More often than not, people will counter-strafe and stop directly at where you're aiming, resulting in an easy kill for you. The next thing you should do is, if possible, crouch. People are going to be expecting you where you're playing, meaning that if they're good, their crosshair will be pre-aimed towards your shiny dome that feels 50% larger than their own. To counter this, simply crouch. It won't always work and your opponents will hit good shots, but more often than not, this will give you enough of an advantage to win the gunfight. Now, if we want to hold an off angle, we basically have to do the opposite of everything I just told you. When you hold off angles, the enemy is going to be wide swinging you as they don't expect you to be there. So in these cases, it's better to have your crosshair out just a little bit wider to accommodate. Say I'm a CT and I've taken this aggressive off angle in apps. I don't want to aim too close to the wall because the Ts are just going to run right past it. Instead, I'll bring out my crosshair off the angle a little bit more so when they do run through, I have more time to react and I don't have to hit a flick. In these scenarios, it is also usually better to stand instead of crouching. There are certain times when crouching is fine, but we just won't be getting into that. So why do we stand? Well, we do it so we can faster reposition. Off angles typically have less cover or none at all, so we want to stay standing so we can reposition as fast as possible. As soon as you get that first frag, your position is known on the minimap and will be called out, so you should GTFO and either tuck further into the angle or swing more and attempt a multi-frag. There's plenty of examples of pros doing both, and neither is really wrong. However, personally, I like to let that shit hang, so I swing into them and try to hit a clip. Now that we know how we should be placing our crosshairs when holding angles, let's think about how we want to counter that. If we were playing against ready opponents who like to play in weird spots, take your time and clear the off angles without wide swinging. If the enemy is holding a common spot, there's nothing really wrong with trying to hit a pre-fire, but if the enemy is fast or is using an op, try wide swinging the angle. Our next topic is movement in rifle or gunfights, or more specifically, donk sliding. Now, this mechanic has been talked about for quite some time now, however, I still just don't see people always doing this, especially at the lower levels. Now, in gunfights in which you have a rifle like the M4 or the AK, you should be donk sliding in nearly every gunfight. There's old advice from back in CSGO where people were told to never crouch during a fight, and I still see this being repeated years later, but in CS2, pros are crouching, or more specifically donk sliding, in roughly 90+% of their fights. If you don't know what donk sliding is by now, where the hell have you been? And second, you probably just didn't know the move had a name. Donk sliding is when you peek into an angle, then crouch walk back behind cover while spraying, and this accomplishes a few things. First, and the most important reason to do it, it makes you incredibly difficult to hit. You're changing where your opponent needs to aim both horizontally by moving left and right, and also vertically by changing the height of your head. Crouch walk spraying is also entirely accurate, so while they may struggle to hit you, it is incredibly easy for you to pull off an accurate spray. And lastly, which is an entirely underrated part of the donk slide, if you happen to over peek and see multiple enemies, crouch walking back into the angle isolates the fights, meaning their teammates are not able to help them without walking into your spray. These tips may seem incredibly simple and easy, and that's because they actually are. All you have to do is really think about how you want to peek an angle a little bit more, how you want to hold your crosshair, or how you want to move during a gunfight. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for more CS2 content.